Hey guys, tonight we're stepping straight into the kind of story that makes you pull your blanket a little tighter, even though you know it won't help. Picture this. The air feels heavy. Your window rattles as if something out there is testing the frame, and you can't shake the sense that the night itself is waiting for you to move first. You probably won't survive this. I mean, statistically speaking, horror stories never end well for people who look out the window when they shouldn't, right? So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe. But only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And hey, drop your location and the local time in the comments below, because I love knowing where and when you're listening. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. The night begins with a siren. Not the gentle whine of a car alarm or a distant train, but the sharp, metallic shriek of an air raid siren, something so archaic, so rooted in wartime terror, that it tears you out of sleep like a hand, yanking you up by the collar. Your body reacts before your mind does. You sit upright, breathless, half caught between dream and panic. The room is black, too black, the kind of absence that feels thick, like tar smeared across your eyes. You reach for the lamp on your nightstand, fumbling with the cord, your fingers trembling. But then something else catches your attention. A glow, not soft moonlight, not the dull orange of a street lamp, but an unnatural shimmer that bleeds through the slats of your window blinds. It's greenish-white, sharp enough to paint shadows across the walls, even before you've pulled them open. Curiosity trumps fear for just a moment, and you stumble across the floor, crunching something faintly under your bare foot. Glass. You don't remember breaking anything. You shove the curtain aside, press your forehead to the cool pane, and look skyward. And there it is. A ball of light hangs above the town, massive and pulsing, as though the heavens themselves had split open to drop something unwanted into your world. It drifts, almost gracefully silent, but steady, as if gravity is more of a suggestion than a rule for whatever this thing is. From the core of that brightness, smaller sparks break free, tumbling and fluttering like strange, doomed fireflies. They burn in shades you've never seen in nature: electric blues, jagged greens, a white so pure it hurts to watch before blinking out. The main body keeps sliding downward, its path eerily deliberate, and then it cuts across the hillside. A flash erupts through the trees, brighter than lightning but lasting longer, burning your eyes even as you flinch away. The explosion that follows is late, seconds later, but when it comes, it's brutal, a rolling, concussive boom that seems to split the night itself. The shockwave slams through your house, rattling every beam, shattering every window. You're hurled backward onto the floor, coughing as dust rains from the ceiling. When your senses crawl back, your ears still ringing, you notice the alarm clock has gone dark. You grope for your flashlight, the one that always flickers before it steadies. Tonight is no exception. Its tired bulb squeezing out a thin yellow beam that barely pushes back the dark. With it, you see the glitter of broken glass spread like frost across the carpet. Careful not to slice your feet open, you edge back to the window frame, or what's left of it. Outside, the neighborhood lies wounded. Every home sits in jagged silence, windows blown, curtains flapping out like torn lungs, power lines sag uselessly. The clock tower in the square, normally lit like a beacon, stands black against the night. For the first time in your memory, the town has no heartbeat. You notice movement, figures sleepy and confused, spilling out of their front doors and clustering along the street. A dull orange flicker glows in the distance, uphill where the light fell, licking the tree line like a secret fire, and then a voice cuts through the stillness. Good Lord, you see that. You turn, flashlight beam grazing the familiar bulk of your neighbor. Jeff Stone, G, as everyone calls him, stands at the edge of his driveway, barefoot in pajama pants, a t-shirt stretched across his broad chest, beard catching the flashlight's weak glow. He looks like a giant pulled out of a dream, grinning even as his eyes flick toward the hills. How could I not? You call back, your voice thinner than you'd like. Never seen a shooting star actually hit ground. Jeff lets out a chuckle that seems too casual for the moment. Shooting star, my ass. I saw things like that back in '43. Flying saucer, my boy. Flying saucer. The words hang in the air. You feel the absurdity of them, even as something in your gut twists with agreement. He steps closer, the gravel crunching under his weight. I'd bet my Chevy on it, he adds, like he's making a casual wager at the bar. His tone is steady, but his eyes don't leave the dark line of the hills where the fires smolder. You want to laugh, maybe should laugh, but the sound won't come. The night feels too heavy for that. Instead, you nod, silently committing the surreal moment to memory. Because if Jeff's right, if this is something more than a falling star, then the night ahead isn't just broken windows and power outages. It's something far darker, waiting to crawl out of that crater. The flashlight sputters, threatening to die. You tap it once, twice, and the beam steadies. Jeff's still watching you, the grin fading. You going up there? He asks. You know the answer, even before you say it. Jeff's question lingers like smoke in the air. You going up there? You don't answer immediately. Not because you don't know, but because your throat feels dry, like the night has stolen the moisture out of you. The thought of that silent, glowing craft lying broken in the hills gnaws at you. You're no soldier, never were, really. But curiosity has always been your sharpest weapon. And besides, Jeff knows you too well. Yeah, you finally mutter, your flashlight beam trembling across the street. I have to. Jeff gives a slow, approving nod, the kind that says he already knew your answer. His silhouette fills the end of the driveway, broad-shouldered, solid as the oaks that line the street. Then bring back proof. Folks need proof more than stories. You let out a shaky laugh, because proof is the one thing you've always chased, through a lens, through film, through the neat, rectangular honesty of a photograph. You've made a career out of capturing what others refuse to see. The neighborhood around you stirs, more doors creak open, voices mumbling into the darkness, confusion rippling like a wave across the block. Some clutch robes to their chests, others hold candles or flashlights. No one speaks above a hush. The power outage presses on everything. No hum of refrigerators. No buzz of streetlights. No comfort of a ticking clock. Just the restless shuffle of feet and the far-off crackle of burning trees. Jeff scratches his beard, eyes narrowing toward the hills. Reminds me of blackout nights on Okinawa, he mutters, almost to himself. When the sky looked empty, but you knew it wasn't. You glance at him. The war stories always slip out of him like this. Little fragments tossed into the air when the night grows tense. You remember covering his unit, standing behind the safety of a camera, while men like him carried rifles. You'd always felt small in those moments, but Jeff never treated you that way. Think it's dangerous, you ask. Everything's dangerous if you don't understand it. He smirks, but it doesn't reach his eyes. But hey, maybe it's just swamp gas, or Venus playing tricks. That's what they always say. The sarcasm cuts sharp, but you can hear the edge of unease beneath it. A flicker of firelight reflects in his gaze. The hills are alive with it now, like a wound glowing on the skin of the earth. You feel the pull like a cord tightening in your chest, dragging you toward it. Jeff shifts his weight, groaning slightly as his knees protest. Wish I could come with you, he says, voice quieter. But I'll just slow you down. These legs aren't what they used to be. You've done enough marching for 2 lifetimes, you say softly. He chuckles. Maybe, but that doesn't make sitting still any easier. His eyes harden suddenly. Be careful, and don't get cocky. Whatever crawled out of that fire, it doesn't care how many photos you've taken. You want to say something brave, but the words knot in your throat. Instead, you just nod. From the corner of your eye, you catch the faintest motion. Someone else stands down the block, staring at the sky, unmoving. You squint, but the figure blends into the dark, like it belongs more to the shadows than the neighborhood. Before you can focus, Jeff slaps your shoulder, startling you back. Go, he says firmly. Before the trail goes cold, you turn toward your house, crunching across the glass-strewn lawn. The doorframe hangs crooked, the wood groaning when you push it. Inside, the air feels wrong, still, and unsettled, as if the house itself is holding its breath. The flashlight's weak beam skims across the floor, catching on familiar shapes: the couch, the framed photographs, the dented coffee table, comforting in their ordinariness, and yet alien under the stutter of yellow light. You scoop up your camera bag, double-check for spare film and batteries, and sling it over your shoulder. On the counter, the kettle sits abandoned from the morning, a faint smell of coffee grounds lingering like a ghost. You take it as a sign, brewing a quick cup, black, bitter, grounding. The warmth steadies you, if only for a moment. When you step back outside, Jeff is gone. His driveway stands empty, slippers abandoned at the edge like he walked barefoot into the night. You frown, scanning the street, but he must have wandered off, maybe to the tavern, maybe just back inside. The town feels different, now emptier, though more people are visible. Figures drift toward the square, lured by curiosity. Yet everyone moves as if afraid of being too loud. No one wants to wake something that may already be awake. You slide into the Jeep parked in your small garage. Miraculously, it still runs. The shockwave spared its old bones. The engine coughs, then roars, a sound far too alive for the stillness around it. You shift into gear and pull onto the dark road, headlights slicing through fallen branches and wires. As you drive, you can't help but glance at the frozen clock tower looming above town. Its hands are stuck at 11:40, unmoving. Jeff's watch had read the same. You shake your head, unsettled by the coincidence, but the thought refuses to leave. The road to the hills grows rougher. Asphalt gives way to dirt, dirt to packed earth. Fires glow brighter ahead, guiding you upward like lanterns, marking the way to something unholy. And then the silence deepens. No crickets, no owls, no wind, just the rumble of your Jeep's wheels and the hammer of your heartbeat. Historians still debate whether the 1947 Roswell incident was a crashed weather balloon or something far stranger. But even in the official accounts, locals swore the desert went quiet after the blast. The animals vanished. The air itself seemed to hold its breath. You think about that as you climb the last hill, unease sharpening into dread. The summit of La Bamba greets you with devastation. Where dense forest once stood, there's only a scar, trees ripped away, soil peeled back, boulders tossed like toys. A straight line cuts across the earth, leading your eyes to the source. And there it is, the craft. It sprawls across the crater like some ocean beast dragged from its depths, gleaming faintly under the firelight. Metallic, curved, almost elegant in its design. Alien, yet heartbreakingly familiar, as if nature itself had dreamed it up. Panels shimmer with fractured reflections. A gaping wound along its side smokes faintly, as if the ship itself is bleeding. You kill the engine, step out, and lift the camera to your eye. The shutter clicks, breaking the silence like a whisper too loud. You're closer now than any story in the paper ever prepared you for. And deep down, in the marrow of your bones, you know Jeff was right. This isn't a falling star. This isn't natural. And you're not alone. The earth crunches beneath your boots as you step away from the Jeep, camera clutched tight in your hand. The fires flicker low, but their glow is enough to make the metallic skin of the craft glisten like wet stone. You feel small here, standing on the rim of this scar, the night pressing in all around you. You lift the camera again, snapping shot after shot, as though each photograph will anchor you, prove to someone later that this moment was real. The shutter's click is steady, almost comforting. But the silence that swallows the sound is anything but. You think of Jeff, his laugh, his certainty, the way he had called it a flying saucer, without hesitation. He used to envy that kind of confidence, the sort that survives wars and loss and the relentless march of time. You're still the guy hiding behind a lens. Yet tonight, the lens doesn't feel like protection. It feels like a target. Your flashlight struggles, casting a thin, jaundiced beam over the crater's slope. The soil here looks scorched, stripped of life, as if the very ground recoiled from the impact. Rocks lie cracked and splintered like eggshells, their jagged edges gleaming with strange green residue that glints unnaturally under your light. You crouch, touch it with a fingertip. It's warm, sticky, and faintly vibrating, as though it carries some hidden pulse. Instinctively, you wipe it away on your pants, but the faint glow lingers on your skin for a moment longer than it should. You climb down carefully, your boots slipping on loose dirt, your camera bumping against your chest. At the base of the crater, the heat prickles your skin, though not unbearable. You edge closer, hand brushing the smooth panels of the craft. The surface hums faintly, a vibration so subtle you feel it more in your bones than your ears, and then your light catches something. The body. You freeze, the breath knocked out of you by the sight. Small, fragile, lying face down in the dirt like a broken doll. Barely 3 feet tall, wrapped in a pale blue jumpsuit that seems more suited for the cockpit of a plane than for the surface of the earth. 4 arms splayed unnaturally, legs bent, feet bare, with strange suction cup toes pressed into the dust. Its head is bulbous, tilted to one side, gill-like slits running down its neck. You can't see its face, and you're not sure you want to. Your hands shake as you raise the camera, snapping photo after photo, each flash bleaching the world into harsh, clinical fragments. You whisper something maybe incredible, maybe impossible, but the word feels wrong, inadequate. And then the smell hits you. Acrid, metallic, laced with rot. Your stomach twists. The creature's back is torn open, its innards strewn across the dirt in a grotesque sprawl. Tubes and organs glisten with blue-green fluid, globs of it splattered across the jumpsuit. A spine lies separated, vertebrae neatly aligned in the dust, as though ripped clean. A translucent sack dangles from the mess, dripping foul-smelling goo. Your chest tightens. This thing didn't die in the crash. It was attacked. The realization crawls cold down your spine. You kneel, pressing the camera shutter in a frenzy, documenting every angle because it's all you can do. But in the corner of your eye, you notice something worse. Tiny footprints trail away from the body, faint impressions in the dirt, leading toward the crater's edge. Not human, not like the pilots either. They're too many, clustered, sharp-edged, as though dozens of little spikes had danced across the soil. You shine the flashlight across the ground, tracing the pattern. They're everywhere, hundreds of them. The earth looks pockmarked, as if some creature with 1,000 tiny claws has combed the area. And then you feel it. That sensation of being watched. You snap your head up. The the beam of your flashlight slicing across the tree line at the crater's edge. For a heartbeat, you swear you see a flicker, blue, electric, shimmering between the trunks. Fireflies, your brain insists. But the color's wrong. Fireflies aren't blue. The hairs on your arms stand upright. The silence presses tighter. No crickets, no owls, no rustle of small things in the underbrush, just the pop of distant flames and the faint hiss of cooling metal. Historians still debate whether the Tunguska event of 1908 was caused by a meteor, a comet, or something far stranger. What's less debated is that survivors spoke of the forest going deathly still. Animals vanishing, birds silenced. Just before the blast, tonight feels the same. As if the natural world itself has retreated, leaving you alone with something it refuses to face. Your flashlight flickers, and your heart lurches. The beam sputters, dimming until only a weak glow remains. You slap the casing, muttering a curse, but deep down you know it isn't just faulty wiring. The air feels charged, magnetic, like the very presence of this place drains light. From the tree line, a soft crack echoes, a branch snapping, then another. Too deliberate, too heavy. Something moving out there, circling. You back toward the jeep, slow, careful, the camera strap biting into your shoulder. Each step feels loud, too loud, though you're barely breathing. The flashlight steadies for a moment, enough to reveal the slope behind you. That's when the ground trembles. Not much, just enough for the dirt to shift under your boots. A vibration, deep and rhythmic, as though something massive is testing the earth with each step. The sound grows, branches breaking, leaves thrashing. A ripple through the forest, coming closer. And then the world erupts. From the tree line bursts a wave of movement, dozens, maybe hundreds of animals, deer charging past in a frenzied blur, eyes wide with terror. Smaller creatures scramble alongside raccoons, opossums, even rats, all fleeing in the same direction. Predators join the tide, wolves, mountain lions, ignoring instinct, driven by something far more primal. Above, the trees explode with wings as birds of every kind surge into the sky, their cries shrill and desperate. You press yourself against a tree, breath ragged, heart hammering. The herd thunders past, a living avalanche of fur and feathers, all running from the same thing. And just like that, you know, whatever ripped that pilot apart didn't die in the crash. It's out there, and it's enough to terrify the wild itself into stampede. The last of the animals vanish into the dark, leaving only silence and the smell of trampled earth. You stand frozen, every nerve screaming. Then, faintly, you hear it, clicking, a sharp, insect-like rhythm, steady and wrong, echoing through the trees. It's close, too close. The clicking echoes again, sharp and deliberate, vibrating down your spine like nails dragged across glass. You whip the flashlight toward the sound, but the beam is too weak, swallowed by the tree line before it can reveal anything. The silence afterward is worse. It feels like the whole forest is leaning in, waiting for you to breathe too loudly. You grip the camera tight, your finger twitching near the shutter button, as if a flash might scare whatever's out there into revealing itself. But you don't dare. Not yet. The sound came from just beyond the tree line, and you're not eager to draw its attention closer. Your breath fogs in the air, even though the night isn't cold. The thought jolts you. Heat still radiates from the crater, but your body shivers. Goosebumps ripple down your arms, as if your skin recognizes something your mind refuses to. The clicking begins again, faster this time. Tap, 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 like an old gas stove trying to spark. The rhythm crawls into your ears and nests there, rattling around until you swear you can feel it in your teeth. And then metal groans. Your stomach drops as the sound rises from behind you, from the direction of the saucer. You spin, flashlight beam cutting across the smoldering wreckage. One of the reflective plates on the wing shifts, sliding loose and crashing to the ground with a glassy shatter. For a split second, the shard glows with sickly green light, throwing jagged shadows across the crater walls. You stumble backward, nearly tripping over a rock, as a hiss cuts through the night. Steam rises from somewhere deep within the hull. For a heartbeat, you imagine the ship alive, exhaling. Your flashlight skims the ground near the body again. Only now, it's wrong. The little footprints leading away from the corpse, they're not alone. Fresh impressions dent the soil, bigger, deeper, gouging into the earth like spikes. They weren't there when you first looked, and they lead directly toward the tree line where the clicking had echoed. A chill spreads through you, stronger than the heat of the crater can fight. Historians still debate whether the so-called Mothman of Point Pleasant in the 1960s was a misidentified bird, a collective hallucination, or something stranger. Witnesses swore they saw glowing red eyes, wings spread across the night, and that whenever it appeared, disaster followed. You think about that now, not because you believe in prophecies, but because the pattern is too familiar. Silence, lights, unnatural fear in the animals. The world knows when something doesn't belong. The clicking grows louder. You can't stay here. Your boots scrape the dirt as you retreat up the slope, lungs tight, every nerve on fire. Halfway up, your foot catches in a hole, and you pitch backward onto the ground. Pain shoots through your back as the camera swings against your chest. Branches snap in the tree line. Something is moving fast. You scramble to your feet, pressing against the nearest tree, trying to melt into its shadow. And then the forest explodes. Deer burst through the underbrush again, but fewer now. Frantic stragglers still caught in the current of fear. They bound past you, eyes rolling white. Raccoons scamper underfoot. Rats pour across the dirt like a living river. Predators follow, just as they did before, tails low, eyes darting, and above, the trees rattle with wings as more birds take flight, blotting out what little sky remains visible. You press yourself tighter to the tree, heart hammering so hard you're certain the sound will betray you. The stampede lasts seconds, maybe less, but it feels eternal. When it ends, silence crashes down again. You strain your ears, desperate to catch some normal sound, an owl, a cricket, anything. But there's nothing, just the faint crackle of fire, and beneath it, the dreaded clicking. It's closer now. Your flashlight sputters once, twice, then steadies weakly. You force yourself to raise it, sweeping the beam across the ground toward your Jeep at the crater's edge, and your heart seizes. The Jeep's hood is ruined. A perfectly round hole, edges smooth as glass, pierces straight through the metal. Smoke curls upward from the wound. Around it, globs of thick, viscous slime ooze across the paint, sizzling as they eat it away. Next to the Jeep lies a deer. Or rather, what used to be a deer. Its body is collapsed in on itself, skin clinging to bones, eyes and tongue gone. A husk, drained of whatever had once made it alive. You gag, bile rising in your throat, because you know what that means. The sound you heard earlier, that awful baying, it was this. And it happened moments ago. Your hand trembles as you reach for the pistol tucked in the Jeep's compartment. The weapon feels absurdly small, laughably inadequate, but it's all you have. You tuck it into your waistband, then clutch the camera strap tighter, as though one will save you where the other cannot. A rustle to your left. You snap your head around just in time to catch it. A flash of blue light darting between the trees. Not like fireflies. No, too big, too deliberate. It pulses, shimmering, vanishing, then reappearing 20 feet closer. The clicking grows louder, sharper, as if excited. Your body screams at you to run, but your legs feel locked in place. Only when the flashlight flickers again, casting you into near total darkness, does instinct finally tear you free. You sprint, feet pounding against the dirt, camera bouncing wildly against your chest. Branches whip across your face, roots snag at your ankles. The forest seems to close in around you, twisting paths, shifting shadows. Behind you, something massive crashes through the underbrush. Not delicate, not hidden, whatever it is. It wants you to know it's coming. The clicking becomes a roar, a chorus of jagged sounds snapping in rhythm, rattling inside your skull. You don't look back. You don't have to. You already know it's there. Your lungs burn as you stumble through the forest, the camera thudding against your chest like a second heartbeat. The flashlight beam jerks wildly, barely cutting through the blackness before flickering again. You slap it with your palm, begging it not to die. The crashing behind you slows, then stills. For a moment, you think you've lost it. The silence returns, thick, oppressive, a blanket thrown over the world. You pause, panting, straining your ears for any sound. But all you hear is the rush of your own blood. That silence is worse than the chase, because it means whatever's out, there is choosing when to move. And you know, deep down, that silence is never mercy. You press your back to a tree, forcing yourself to steady your breathing. The forest is a maze of shadows. The faint glow of fire on the horizon, your only compass. You whisper, almost involuntarily. Where are you? As if in answer, a faint shimmer flickers between the trees. Electric blue. There, then gone. A blink, a glint. Too smooth, too unnatural. Your skin prickles as you track it, your pulse hammering in your throat. You try to reason with yourself. Maybe it's just plasma from the crash, sparks carried on the wind. Maybe it's no. The shimmer moves again, too fluid, weaving between trunks as though it's stalking, not drifting. The camera shakes in your hands, but instinct takes over. You raise it, snap the shutter. The flash illuminates the clearing in a brief, sterile burst. For that fraction of a second, you see nothing. Nothing but trees, smoke, and ash. But when the light fades, the shimmer is closer. You know because your bones know. The way your body tenses, the way the air thickens, it's not imagination, it's proximity. You whisper Jeff's name under your breath like a charm, as if invoking his presence might steady you. He'd laugh, call you paperboy, tell you to get the damn shot. You wonder if he's home now, safe in his slippers, sipping a beer by candlelight. You hope so. The clicking begins again, fainter now, but unmistakable. Tap, 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 like claws on glass. You spin, trying to triangulate the sound, but it ricochets off the trees, everywhere and nowhere at once. Historians still debate whether the disappearance of the Roanoke colony was starvation, conflict, or something far stranger. But some old accounts, the ones that don't make it into textbooks, mention a silence in the woods before the colonists vanished, an emptiness that stretched for days. You think of that now, and it feels too close. The flashlight sputters again, plunging you into half-darkness. Panic claws at your throat. You fish through your bag for batteries, your fingers trembling, knocking into rolls of film, pens, notebooks. Nothing. You curse under your breath, heart hammering. Then you remember the camera's flash. Not meant for this, but better than nothing. You lift it, finger on the trigger, waiting. The clicking grows louder. Your hand shakes so badly the strap bites into your wrist. Snap. The flash bursts white, bleaching the world into stark contrast. And for the first time, you see it. Not clearly, not fully, but enough. A shadow, tall and unnatural, hunched between the trees, limbs too long, too many joints bending in the wrong directions. Plates of something chitin, armor, catching the light in brief glints, and eyes, black and round, reflecting the flash like wet stone. Then the light dies, and the forest swallows it whole. You stagger backward, bile rising in your throat. The camera trembles in your grip. The image is burned into your mind, though it was only a heartbeat. Too many legs, too much silence, a thing that doesn't belong. The clicking stops. For a second, relief washes over you until you realize that silence is worse. Something heavy shifts in the darkness. A low hiss vibrates through the trees, not loud, but deep enough to rattle your bones. Your skin crawls, as if every hair is trying to peel itself away from your body. You force yourself to move, each step deliberate, quiet, backward toward the slope, where the Jeep waits. Your foot crunches on a twig, and the sound cracks like a gunshot. The hiss cuts off. The forest holds its breath. And then movement. Swift, brutal. Branches whip, leaves tear, and the shimmer of blue light flickers in a frenzy, darting between trunks, circling, not closing the distance, testing you. Like a predator deciding how much fun the chase should be. You break. You run, sprinting toward the faint silhouette of the Jeep, your chest screaming for air. The camera bounces wildly against your ribs, the strap digging in with every stride. Behind you, the forest erupts again, that impossible body plowing through underbrush with a speed that shouldn't belong to something so massive. You don't look back, not until you crash out of the tree line and into the clearing where the Jeep waits. You slam into the door, wrench it open, throw yourself inside. Your fingers fumble with the ignition, slick with sweat. The key jams once, twice. You curse, twist harder. The engine coughs, sputters, roars to life. Relief surges hot in your veins too soon. A metallic screech tears through the night as something slams into the Jeep. The whole frame rocks, glass rattling in the windows. You scream, foot slamming on the gas, tires spitting dirt as the Jeep lurches forward. In the rear view, for just a heartbeat, you see it. A flash of blue light across armor, the glint of scythe-like limbs raised, and eyes, those awful, black, reflecting eyes, locking onto you. Then the trees swallow it again, and you're tearing down the dirt path, breath ragged, heart clawing at your ribs. You don't know how far you'll get, only that the silence hasn't left. And silence always follows what's still hunting you. The Jeep barrels down the dirt road, bouncing hard enough to rattle your teeth. Branches slap across the windshield. Sparks of firelight blink through the treetops, and every shadow feels alive. You keep glancing at the rear view, half expecting to see it there, sprinting after you on 100 legs. Electric blue shimmer flickering in the dark. But the road stretches behind you empty, at least for now. Your breath comes in shallow bursts, each inhale sharp and metallic with the taste of fear. The wheel trembles under your grip, your knuckles whitening as you try to steady it, to steady yourself. The silence outside presses down harder the further you drive. No animals, no wind, just the roar of your battered engine clawing against the night. And then, faintly, you hear it again. Click, click, click. The sound isn't behind you now, it's everywhere. Bouncing off the trees, buried in the hum of the engine, seeping into the marrow of your bones. You turn up the gas, the Jeep rattling as you push it harder. The tree line opens suddenly, the road widening into a stretch of scorched earth. Smoke hangs low, carrying with it the sharp stink of burned leaves, and something sweeter, fouler, that makes you gag. You force the Jeep forward, headlights cutting through the haze. And that's when the earth itself begins to move. At first, it's a ripple, a shiver across the ground ahead, like wind in tall grass. But there is no grass, only ash and dirt. Then it grows louder, heavier. You slam the brakes just as the first deer bursts across the road. It darts through the headlights, wild-eyed, mouth frothing. Another follows, and another, until the road is a torrent of bodies. Hooves pound the dirt. Antlers clash as they jostle to escape something unseen. You clutch the wheel, paralyzed, watching the flood. But it's not just deer. Raccoons scuttle in panicked packs, tails bristling. Opossums tumble over one another, squealing as they fight for space. A wave of rats, thousands of them, ripples across the ground like a living carpet, their squeaks shrill and desperate. Predators join the tide. Wolves sprint, jaws snapping, but not at prey, at the air, at the fear itself. Mountain lions leap from boulders, their sleek forms bent low in flight. Even the owls abandon the trees, wings spread wide as they vanish into the night sky. The forest empties itself before your eyes, every creature running, flying, crawling eastward, away from the hills, away from the crater, away from what hunts there. You sit frozen in the driver's seat, headlights illuminating chaos, until one of the wolves slams into the Jeep's bumper with a yelp, ricocheting off into the stampede. The impact jolts you awake. You slam the gear shift into drive, but hesitate. If you move, you'll crush dozens of creatures under the wheels. And then you hear it. A sound so wrong it eclipses the panic of the animals. A hiss, low and guttural, rolling through the tree line behind you. The clicking follows, rapid, staccato, echoing across the clearing, like a swarm of knives being sharpened. The animals surge faster, as if whipped by the sound itself. Your instincts scream, move. You shove the pedal down, the Jeep jolting forward into the flood. Rats crunch under the tires, wings slap against your windshield. A deer's flank thuds against the side mirror and shatters it clean off. You grit your teeth, eyes locked on the road. Just keep driving. Just keep moving. The stampede thins after 100 yards, scattering into the dark. But the silence that follows is worse. The headlights reveal only empty road and drifting smoke. The world feels hollow, stripped clean. Your breathing steadies for half a moment until the clicking starts again. Closer this time, you yank the wheel, veering toward the tree line, hoping the denser woods will give you cover. The Jeep jolts violently over roots and rocks, but it keeps moving, stubborn and loud. Branches whip across the windshield. One cracks the glass, splintering it into a spider web that shimmers in the light. You curse, fighting the wheel, heart thundering. Behind you, something crashes through the trees, the sound of countless legs tearing into bark and soil. And then you see it. Not fully, not enough, but enough. In the beam of your failing headlights, the shimmer returns blue, electric, alive. It flickers through the smoke, crawling across the ground, darting between trunks, keeping pace with the Jeep. Too fast, too deliberate. Your stomach knots as you realize it's not chasing you out of desperation. It's playing with you, testing you. Historians still debate whether the beast of Gévaudan in 18th century France was a wolf, a pack of hybrids, or something more mythical. But the stories always agreed on one thing. The creature toyed with its victims, stalked them for miles, letting them glimpse it before striking. You think of that now, and it feels less like history and more like prophecy. The clicking grows frantic, surrounding you. It feels like it's in your head, bouncing between your ears. You snap your eyes to the side mirror. The broken one is gone, but the other still clings. And in it, you catch a glimpse, a shape impossibly tall, gliding between the trees. Plates of armor glinting, limbs unfolding, too many bending wrong, and eyes round, black, shining with your own headlights reflected back at you. The mirror shatters as something slams against the side of the Jeep. You cry out, the vehicle swerving hard. You yank the wheel, barely keeping it upright. The camera digs into your ribs with every jolt, its strap biting into your skin, and then silence again. You slam the brakes, dust rising in a choking cloud. The Jeep skids to a stop, your chest slamming against the wheel. You sit frozen, knuckles white, ears straining. Nothing, not the clicking, not the hiss, not the crash of pursuit. Just silence. But you know better now. Silence doesn't mean safety. Silence means it's choosing, deciding whether to strike now or later. And you're not sure which terrifies you more. The Jeep idles in the choking dust, engine rattling like it might shake itself apart. You grip the wheel, frozen, ears straining for anything beyond your own shallow breaths. Silence stretches too long, taut and cruel. The forest waits. You know it's out there, too clever, too patient to reveal itself. You force yourself to move. Slowly, you kill the headlights. The sudden dark swallows you whole, your eyes straining in vain against it. Your hand hovers over the ignition, tempted to shut off the engine. But the thought of silence inside the cab is worse. The noise may be clumsy, but it's human, yours, and it anchors you in a night that feels owned by something else. You reach for the flashlight, clicking it on. Its beam is weaker now, the battery giving its last gasp, but it cuts through the dust enough to reveal the road ahead. You open the door, step out carefully, boots crunching on gravel. The air reeks of smoke, oil, and something chemical, sweet, rotting, like fruit left too long in the sun. The Jeep's hood hisses faintly. You edge closer, raising the light. That's when you see it. The hole, perfectly circular, smooth-edged, bored straight through the steel like it was butter. Around it, the black paint bubbles and curls, eaten alive by globs of thick slime that still drip in lazy strands. The goo glistens under your flashlight, iridescent, and where it touches the metal, smoke curls up. You gag, stepping back, because the smell is unbearable, acid and rot fused together. And then your stomach knots tighter. Lying against the front wheel well is a deer, or rather, the husk of one. Its body has collapsed inward, skin shriveled against bone, every ounce of life wrung out of it. The mouth hangs open, stretched unnaturally wide, but the tongue is gone. The eyes, too, sockets hollow and staring. You know death. You've seen it in the war. But this isn't death. This is something stolen. Your flashlight trembles in your grip. You whisper without meaning to, "What did this to you?" As if in reply, the clicking begins again. Your head snaps up, beam darting across the tree line. The sound ricochets from everywhere, impossible to track. Faster now, almost playful, your instincts scream at you to run. Instead, you lunge for the Jeep's glove box, yanking it open. The pistol waits, small and cold, absurdly inadequate. You tuck it into your waistband, close the compartment with trembling fingers. Bendito. The thought slams into you Jeff's little dog, safe at his son's place. You imagine her small frame against something this monstrous, and your chest tightens. You grip the wheel harder, promising silently that if you get through this night, you'll bring her home. You climb back into the Jeep, slamming the door harder than you mean to. The click of the lock sounds brittle, useless. You twist the key, engine grumbling louder. For a moment, relief brushes against you. At least the old machine still lives, but then the passenger door caves inward with a deafening crunch. Metal buckles, shrieking under impossible pressure. You scream, jerking sideways, as something massive slams against the frame. Claws or blades scrape across the seat, inches from your leg, gouging deep furrows into the leather. The flashlight slips from your grip, tumbling to the floor, beam spinning wildly. In its frantic sweep, you catch glimpses, a talon stabbing through the roof, a glint of armor outside the cracked glass, the glimmer of that awful blue shimmer spilling through seams in the frame. You yank the gear shift, tires screaming as the Jeep lurches forward. The thing clings for a moment, dragging its weight across the hood, then peels away with a screech of metal. You don't look back. You can't. You drive blind into the night, the forest whipping past in dizzying blurs. Branches claw the windshield. Dust clouds rise. The engine roars in protest. You don't know where you're headed, only away. Away from the clicking, away from the shimmer, away from eyes that see too much. Historians still debate whether the Great Fire of London in 1666 began with a baker's oven or something more sinister. What's less disputed are the rumors that strange lights were seen in the sky for days before, described in parish records as ghostly lanterns that walked above the smoke. You wonder now, what if they weren't omens, but warnings? What if strange lights always mean something's already here? The road smooths briefly, giving your hands a chance to unclench from the wheel. You steal a glance in the mirror, the intact one anyway. Nothing but blackness. Relief flutters, fragile in your chest. And then the mirror explodes. A talon punches through it, spraying shards into your face. You cry out, swerving, the Jeep fishtailing dangerously. The clicking is inside the sound of shattering glass, deafening, triumphant. You slam your foot down, desperate for speed, praying the machine can outrun what nature itself is fleeing. For a long, harrowing stretch, nothing happens. The forest rushes by, dust billows, but no more impacts shake the Jeep. The clicking fades, swallowed by the night behind you. You almost dare to hope until the silence comes back. And by now, you know silence isn't a gift, it's a promise. The silence clings to you like a damp sheet, suffocating, pressing into your ears until you can't tell if the Jeep's engine is loud or if the night itself is just too quiet. You drive harder, steering down the slope, the dirt road narrowing back into cracked pavement. Every bump rattles your ribs. Every shadow at the tree line feels like it's leaning toward you. At last, the road straightens, the forest thins, revealing the lights of town below, or what should be lights. Instead, darkness stretches across San Gabriel like a blanket thrown over it. Only one glow shines steady in the center of town, Joe's Tavern, a stubborn ember in the dark. You almost laugh at the absurdity of it. Of course, Joe would have a generator. Of course, the only place still alive would be the bar. But the laugh dies in your throat as movement catches your eye. From the ridge, binoculars pressed to your face. You see it, something large slinking out of the forest at the edge of town. Not walking, not exactly. Sliding, gliding, too fast, too fluid. It's bigger than any man, its silhouette distorting as it slips between houses. And pulsing faintly along its body is that same electric blue shimmer you saw in the trees. Your stomach knots. It's here, not just the hills anymore. The town. You yank the binoculars down, hands trembling. The instinct to turn the Jeep around and flee into the night scratches at your brain. But there's nowhere else to go. You can't outrun silence, can't hide from something that bends the forest itself around it, so you drive. The Jeep rattles down the hill, back toward the heart of San Gabriel. Houses loom dark, their windows shattered like hollow eyes. Curtains flap in the breeze, torn and whispering. You glance toward one backyard, just in time to see a shadow ripple, impossibly tall, before vanishing. Your pulse pounds in your ears. Joe's Tavern grows closer, its glow spilling out like a beacon. People are gathered outside, clustered in knots, faces drawn with worry, but softened with the relief of light and laughter. Their voices carry faintly, a murmur of disbelief and forced cheer. You pull the Jeep up to the curb, engine grumbling, eyes turned toward you as you climb out, camera dangling at your side. You recognize the look, expectation. The town paper's paperboy is here. The man with the camera, the one who will explain what the hell just happened. But what explanation can you give? Jeff is there too, of course. Perched on a bar stool, dragged out into the night air, slippers on his feet, pajama shirt stained with beer. He raises his bottle when he sees you, grinning like nothing in the world is wrong. Ahoy, paperboy, he bellows, voice booming over the crowd. Where's my Martian? He strides toward you, strong for a man who had just admitted his knees, couldn't take a walk uphill. He clasps your shoulder, thrusts a fresh bottle into your hand. His laugh is big, full, steady. For a moment, you almost believe it. Almost. But the words catch in your throat. You look at him, and all you can think of is the deer husk, the hole in the Jeep, The clicking. The eyes. It's here, you say softly. So soft you wonder if he'll even hear. Jeff squints. What's here? You raise the camera, tap the lens. The Martian. The crowd bursts out laughing. Too loud, too nervous. Someone shouts. Sure it ain't just the commies. Another calls. Invaders from Mars. The laughter doubles, a chorus of forced relief. They don't believe you, or worse, they don't want to. Jeff drains his beer, wipes his mouth with the back of his hand. You've seen it then, you nod, the image seared into your skull. Good, he says simply. Though his eyes flicker with something darker, he leans in, voice low. Then you know we're not laughing anymore. The tavern's lights flicker. A brief stutter in the hum of the generator. A groan ripples through the crowd. Nerves rising to the surface. Joe himself steps outside, hands raised, trying to calm them. Last call, folks, he announces with forced cheer. We'll keep her running till she quits. Jeff claps you on the back, too hard. You need a drink. Come on, sit. But you shake your head. You can't. The thought of sitting, pretending nothing's wrong, feels impossible. Jeff, something's moving through town. It's big. It killed that pilot. It killed. You stop. The words choke in your throat. You can't tell him about the deer. About the slime. About how close you came to never leaving that crater. Instead, you whisper, we're not safe. For a moment, Jeff's grin falters. Just for a moment. Then it's back, broad and blustery. Then we'll fight, he says. You've got your camera. I've got my fists. And Joe's got enough booze to drown an army. What could go wrong? You almost smile. Almost. But then you hear it. Faint, buried beneath the laughter. Beneath the hum of the generator. A click. Your blood runs cold. The sound is distant, too faint for the others to notice. But you hear it. You always hear it. And you know what it means. It's here. Not in the hills. Not in the trees. In San Gabriel. The tavern's glow feels fragile now, like a candle against a storm. You clutch the camera tighter, heart pounding, as the laughter swells around you. And in the distance, something clicks again. The tavern door creaks as you push it open. The hum of the generator spilling warm yellow, light across the faces packed inside. It feels wrong, too bright, too normal. Like the world hasn't already cracked open a mile away. The smell of beer and wood smoke washes over you. Almost comforting. Almost enough to make you forget the acid stink clinging to your clothes. Almost. The place is crowded. Farmers, shopkeepers, men in overalls, and women in housecoats, all clumped together with drinks in hand. They laugh too loudly, talk too quickly, voices tumbling over each other in a way that reeks of desperation. The storm is outside, but they've convinced themselves the light will keep it out. Jeff barges in behind you, voice booming. Ladies and gents, our resident paperboy's got news. Saw the saucer himself, didn't you? Heads swivel, dozens of eyes fix on you. Expectation, amusement. A few sharp with curiosity, but most dulled with drink and denial. You clear your throat, words sticking. The camera strap digs into your shoulder. "It's not a meteor," you say finally, voice steady despite the knot in your chest. "It's a craft, a saucer." And something came out of it. The room bursts into laughter. A man near the bar slaps his thigh. "Saucer, you sure it ain't them Russians dropping their toys again?" Another calls, more like octopus men from Uranus. The laughter grows, a rolling chorus that drowns you out. You raise your voice, sharp enough to cut through. "Listen to me. I saw it. It killed the pilot. And it's here, Martians A." Someone interrupts, grinning wide. "Better hide the womenfolk." The crowd howls again. The mockery burns hot under your skin. But worse than that is the knowledge that every second they laugh, it's getting closer. You slam your hand on the bar, hard enough to make bottles rattle. The noise cuts the laughter short. "It's not a joke," you hiss. "It's in the forest. I followed it back to town. It's hunting." The silence that follows is jagged. You see it in their eyes. Some want to believe you. Some already do, but can't admit it. But belief is dangerous. Belief shatters the illusion that the light here will keep them safe. Joe clears his throat from behind the bar. "Son," he says gently, "people are scared enough without ghost stories. Have a drink. Take a breath." Your hands shake. You want to scream, to drag them to the window, to make them hear the clicking you can still feel vibrating in your teeth. Instead, you grip the camera like a lifeline. "I've got proof," you whisper. Jeff leans close, his breath heavy with beer. "Show them, then," he murmurs. "Show them the truth." You hesitate. The film, the shots, they're there, but will a few grainy flashes of shadow convince anyone drunk and desperate for laughter? And even if it does, what then? What good is belief when the thing is already among you? The tavern's lights flicker just once, but long enough for the laughter to die completely. Heads snap upward, fear rising in every throat. The hum of the generator sputters, coughs, steadies again. Relief trickles back, nervous chuckles filling the void. "See," someone says loudly, forcing bravado into their tone. "Nothing to worry about. Just a little blackout is all, but you can't unhear the faint sound under the hum." Click. Historians still debate whether the Salem witch trials were the result of ergot poisoning, mass hysteria, or cold political convenience. But buried in the testimony are accounts of silence, long, unnatural silences that filled the rooms before accusations were hurled. You think of that now. The silence you felt in the crater, the silence before the animals ran. And you know, hysteria is easier than truth. Jeff raises his glass high. "If Martians are in town, they'll have to deal with us." His voice booms, strong, defiant. The crowd erupts again, cheering this time, toasting to courage they don't feel. You stand apart, heart thundering, ears tuned to the rhythm beneath their noise. The clicking hasn't stopped. It's just waiting for its cue, and you know, with bone-deep certainty, that when the tavern's lights finally die for good, the laughter won't come back. The crowd begins to thin as Joe announces last call. His voice steady, though the generator sputters again. Lights dimming before humming back to life. People grumble, but no one leaves quickly. They cling to the glow like moths, as if stepping outside means admitting the dark has teeth. Jeff lumbers over to you, a beer in each hand. His face is flushed, his eyes glassy, but his grin is as steady as ever. "Hey, paper boy," he says, pressing one bottle into your palm. "Do me a favor, would you?" You hesitate. The request feels too casual, too light in the aftermath of your warning. But Jeff just shrugs, swigs from his own bottle, and leans closer. "Go down to my boy's place, Segundo Avenue. Pick up Bandito for me. She'll be waiting. My knees won't let me walk it. And you've still got that Jeep." You blink. The thought of driving back out into the dark makes your stomach churn. But Jeff's voice is almost pleading now. "Please, I don't want her out there tonight. Bring her home." You nod slowly. "All right, good man." He claps your shoulder hard enough to make the bottle slosh. "Don't let her sniff around too much. She's feisty." He says it with a laugh, but you notice the flicker in his eyes. He's worried, maybe more than he lets on. You finish half the beer in a single swallow, the bitter bite steadying your nerves, then step outside. The night swallows you whole. The tavern's glow fades behind you with every step toward the Jeep, until it's just a yellow ember against the dark. The drive is mercifully short. Segundo Avenue is quiet, houses lined up like soldiers asleep at attention. Windows dark, doors closed, everything still. You pull up outside Jeff Jr.'s place, headlights catching a trimmed lawn and a porch sagging under flower pots. Jeff Jr. answers quickly when you knock, his face tired but kind. He recognizes you, shakes your hand, thanks you for picking up the dog. "Dad can't go a night without her," he says, with a weary smile. "She's all yours." Bandito bursts out from behind him, a wiry bundle of energy, tail wagging so hard her whole body wriggles. She licks your hand, then your chin, then circles your legs like a tiny guardian. You scoop her up, the warmth of her small body grounding you in a way the beer never could. "Keep her close," Jeff Jr. adds quietly. "Strange night." You nod, though the words feel heavier than they should. The ride back is uneventful at first. Bandito paces in the back seat, paws scratching at the upholstery, nose twitching at the air. You try to calm her, but she won't sit still. She senses something you can't. Halfway home, she leaps into your lap, growling low in her throat. You jerk the wheel, startled, but manage to keep the Jeep steady. "Easy, girl," you whisper, stroking her trembling back. Her growl deepens, ears pricked forward. Then you see it. 2 broken beer bottles glitter on the sidewalk, reflecting your headlights. Between them, a dark splatter stains the pavement. Blood. Fresh. You slam the brakes, Jeep lurching to a stop. Bandito whines, claws digging into your leg. And there, lying in the middle of the sidewalk, is a slipper. Worn brown leather, ugly, familiar. Jeff's. Your stomach drops. You grab the pistol from the compartment, shoving it into your waistband. Your flashlight is nearly dead, its beam too weak, so you reach for the camera. The Flash will have to do. Stay here, you whisper to Bandito, though she growls in protest. The blood trail glistens faintly in the weak light. You follow it across the manicured lawn, toward Jeff's stately two-story home. The hedges seem taller than you remember, shadows pressing in around the windows. The smear leads to the garage, its side door shattered to splinters. You step inside, flashlight beam wobbling. The air smells of oil, iron, and something foul thicker, wetter, like rot clinging to the rafters. Your eyes catch a leather duffel on the floor. Sticking out of it are sticks of dynamite, their paper tubes cracked and frayed. Jeff hadn't been joking. He really had it here, waiting, tucked away like an old war buddy. You swallow hard, moving deeper. The beam skims across the hood of his Chevrolet, paint streaked with a long crimson smear. You raise the light higher and freeze. A silhouette looms in the corner, tall, wrong, clicking softly in the dark. The sound cuts through you, rattling your teeth, coiling down into your gut. You lift the flashlight higher, and the beam shakes over a shape too grotesque to belong in your world. Chitin glistens. Plates shift. Limbs curl. The mandibles click, and clutched in those scythe-like arms, hanging limp, is Jeff. The beam of your flashlight trembles over the thing in the corner, and every instinct in your body begs you to turn and run. But your legs lock, heavy as stone. The garage seems smaller now, the air so thick it chokes. Jeff dangles in the creature's grip, lifted nearly 2 feet off the floor. The massive, folded arms spear into his shoulders, pinning him like a grotesque puppet. Blood runs down in streams, dripping onto the concrete, pooling beneath his bare feet. Jeff, you whisper, though your voice cracks, as if saying his name might undo what you're seeing. The flashlight's glow slides higher, and you wish it hadn't. The thing towers at least 9 feet tall, its body a nightmare of overlapping purple plates slick with black, oozing flesh beneath. 100 legs, each tipped with spike-like claws, scrape and chip at the floor as it shifts its weight. Between its armored folds, small blue nodules glow faintly, bioluminescence pulsing like fireflies trapped in tar. The torso arches upward, rising to meet your gaze. And then you see its head. A mantis. That's the only comparison your mind can muster. Enormous, curved black eyes reflect the weak yellow light back at you, glossy and merciless. 2 antennae whip back, sweeping the air. The mouth is worse, nothing more than a gaping round orifice ringed with spindly mandibles, each tipped with tiny blades. They clack together, sharp, deliberate, producing the clicking sound that's haunted you all night. And from that mouth, a pale fleshy tube slides outward. Thick, obscene, it stretches and writhes, tipped with a ring of hooked barbs. You realize what it's reaching for just as Jeff groans, his face twisted in agony. The tube plunges into his mouth. You gag, bile scorching your throat, as Jeff's skin stretches grotesquely, cheeks splitting at the corners. His eyes bulge, tears streaking down his face as the probe forces itself down his throat. His body convulses, hands twitching weakly. He turns his head as much as he can, and somehow, impossibly, his eyes lock with yours. Help me. The words aren't spoken, but they're there in his trembling hand. The way his fingers twitch toward you, Bandito whines behind you, claws skittering on the garage floor. The sound makes the creature pause, but only for a heartbeat. Then it resumes its work. A wet, sucking noise fills the room. You watch in horror as Jeff's body begins to collapse inward, chest hollowing, veins shriveling. Chunks of tissue tear free, dragged up through the tube with brutal force. The smell hits you sour, rancid, like vomit and burning meat. Jeff's feet twitch one final time. His eyes roll back, then shrivel, sucked through the tube into the creature's maw. His entire body dries before your eyes, skin clinging to bone, hair brittle. A man turned to parchment. The probe retracts with a revolting slurp, sliding back into the gaping mouth. The husk that was Jeff is discarded like trash, crumpling against the wall with a hollow thud. A bicycle topples beside him, the metallic clatter absurd in the silence. You can't breathe. You can't think. Your body is frozen, locked between fight and flight, neither willing to commit. All you can do is stare into those black, gleaming eyes. Bandito barks, a sharp, desperate sound. The creature swivels its head, antennae twitching. It clicks louder, mandibles tapping with mechanical precision. Something inside you finally snaps. You draw the pistol from your waistband, hands trembling so badly the barrel shakes. You fire once, twice, 3 times. The shots echo deafeningly in the garage, but they do nothing. Bullets ricochet off its plated head, sparking against the concrete. The monster doesn't flinch. You fumble, desperate, reaching for the only other weapon you have, the camera. You slam the shutter. A burst of white light explodes in the dark. The creature recoils, screeching, its bladed arms shielding its eyes. You snap again and again, each flash painting the garage in stuttering, unnatural frames. In each one, the monster shifts, looming, shrinking, twisting, its shadow stretching across the walls. It clicks wildly, mandibles clashing, backing into the corner. For the first time, you realize it doesn't like the light. Fight or flight takes over, and you choose flight. You scoop Bandito into your arms, bolting for the door. As you stumble into the night air, your hand snags the leather duffel of dynamite. You don't think, you just take it. Behind you, claws screech across the concrete as the thing gives chase. You slam into the Jeep, yanking the door open. Before you can climb in, the creature slams into the other side. The frame caves inward, metal shrieking. One of its scythes slices across the seats, inches from your face, gouging deep into the steering wheel. You scream, stumbling backward, dragging Bandito with you. The camera bounces against your chest as you run into the street, boots pounding pavement. The monster hisses, long and deep, the sound vibrating through your bones. The clicking follows, faster, sharper, echoing down the dark streets of San Gabriel. And you know it won't stop. Not until you're as hollow as Jeff. You sprint down the street with Bandito in your arms, her nails digging into your chest as she whines and twists. The night air slaps your face, sharp and acrid with smoke. Behind you, the garage shudders with the sound of claws tearing through wood and steel. The clicking grows louder, faster, echoing off the houses. You don't look back. You can't. The town feels abandoned, hollow. Windows gape like broken teeth, streets littered with glass and debris. Every shadow seems alive, leaning forward to watch you run. Your boots slap the pavement, heartbeat pounding, so hard it drowns out everything else. Then headlights slice through the dark. A truck barrels down the street, engine roaring. Relief surges in your chest. You wave frantically, shouting, "Stop, please." The truck screeches to a halt, wood panels rattling. Two men lean out the window, faces flushed with beer and bravado. You recognize them from the tavern, the ones who mocked you with jokes about octopus men. "Hey there, buddy," the passenger slurs. You look like you've seen a ghost. You want to scream at them to turn around, to drive away. But the words stick in your throat, because it's already too late. The monster slams into the truck with a sound like metal folding in half. The windshield explodes inward, glass raining across the cab. Two scythe-like limbs spear straight through the driver's chest. He gasps, a wet, rattling sound, as the life drains from his body. The passenger shrieks, scrambling across the bench seat, trying to climb out through the window. The creature presses its bulk against the hood, the wood panels splintering under its weight. Its probe unfurls, slick and glistening, and plunges into the driver's wound. A revolting slurp fills the air as it drinks him dry, the man's body collapsing into a husk within seconds. The passenger manages to crawl halfway out the window, screaming for help. But the monster is faster. One swipe of its blade, clean and final, severs his head from his shoulders. The body tumbles into the street, twitching. Before a second strike pins it in place, like an insect on a card. Bandito whines, burying her head into your chest. You stumble backward into the shadows, hand trembling on the pistol at your waist. 3 bullets left, worthless against that armor. You're shaking so hard the camera knocks against your ribs. You grip it instinctively, the only weapon that's ever worked. You raise it, snap a photo. The flash bathes the street in white light. For a heartbeat, you see it clearly. The plates of its carapace glistening with gore, the mandible slick, the probe pulsing as it retracts. The eyes, those awful black eyes, glare straight into the lens. Then the light dies, and the clicking resumes, louder, angrier. You run, past houses with doors hanging off hinges, past yards where toys lie scattered, abandoned mid-play, past cars stalled in the street, their headlights still glowing dimly from drained batteries. The whole town feels like it's been left behind by time, frozen in that moment when the power died. The police station looms ahead, its brick walls and tall clock tower rising above the square. Relief flickers through you. Maybe someone's there. Maybe not. Everyone rushed to the fire in the hills. You shove the door open and stumble inside, slamming it shut behind you. Darkness. No lights. No movement. The silence presses tighter here, thick as dust. Bandito squirms, ears pricked, growl low in her throat. You set her down gently, pistol raised. The station feels wrong, too still, too empty. You force your way deeper, boots echoing against tile. The cells are empty, the desks abandoned. Radios sit useless, dead without power. Whatever law the town had is gone, vanished into the smoke. Then you hear it. Click. Your blood ices. It's outside. The claws rake against the door, wood splintering. A shadow moves across the window, massive, hunched. The faint blue shimmer bleeding through the cracks. The sound of mandibles tapping rattles through the walls. You stagger back, chest heaving. Your hand brushes against something heavy, Jeff's leather duffel. The dynamite. You dropped it here without realizing. The weight too much to carry in the panic. 8 sticks. A long fuse. Your only chance. The door shudders under another blow, hinges groaning. The probe snakes through a gap, dripping viscous slime onto the floor. The smell of acid burns your nostrils. You fumble, pulling the sticks together, twisting the fuse. Hands shaking so badly, the cord slips between your fingers. Bandito barks, snapping at the air, her small body brave against the terror. The door bursts inward. It towers there, silhouetted by the moonlight spilling through the broken frame. Armor gleaming, limbs poised, eyes reflecting you back at yourself. The clicking fills the room, deafening as it steps forward, claws gouging the floor. Your fingers finally find the match. You strike it. Flame flares bright. The monster surges, blades slashing down, and you light the fuse. The match burns hot against your fingers as the fuse catches. Sparks crawling like fireflies along the cord. You drop the bundle near the broken doorway, stumbling back as the monster surges forward. Its limbs slash deep gouges into the floor, mandibles clicking in rapid fury. The probe writhes, dripping foul-smelling ooze that hisses when it hits the wood. You retreat toward the spiral staircase at the base of the clock tower, pistol trembling in your grip. Bandito barks, snapping at shadows, but you scoop her up before she gets too close. Not you, you whisper hoarsely. Not tonight. The dynamite sputters, sparks racing faster. The creature hesitates, antennae twitching as though it senses the trap. For a heartbeat, you think it'll retreat, clever enough to avoid the blast. Then it hisses, a deep, rattling sound that shakes the walls and slams its massive body against the frame. The explosion comes like a second sunrise. A deafening roar tears through the police station. The shockwave knocks you off your feet, dust and splinters raining from the ceiling. The creature screeches, the sound high and piercing, echoing off every wall. You clamp your hands over your ears, teeth rattling in your skull. Smoke chokes the air, but you stagger up, dragging Bandito toward the staircase. Behind you, the monster thrashes in the ruined doorway, limbs flailing, armor cracked, and sizzling where the blast caught it. Blue light flickers wildly under its plates, pulsing like 1,000 trapped fireflies. But it isn't dead, not even close. You scramble up the stairs, boots pounding against stone steps. The air grows cooler as you climb, though sweat still soaks your shirt. Bandito squirms in your arms, but you hold her tight, heart hammering. The staircase spirals higher, narrow, and claustrophobic. Each echo of your steps feels like a signal flare. You can hear it behind you, skittering, clicking, dragging itself upward despite the blast. Faster than you'd hoped, stronger than you'd feared. Historians still debate whether the Great Lisbon earthquake of 1755 was purely natural or divine punishment. But eyewitnesses spoke of monstrous sounds rising from beneath the ground before the city fell. The memory of that fact slides into your mind as you climb, and you wonder if anyone in Lisbon felt this same dread, that something bigger than stone and fire was coming for them. You burst into the tower's upper chamber, lungs screaming for air. The gears of the great clock loom around you, massive wheels of iron and brass frozen at 11:40. Dust thickens the air, beams of moonlight cutting through shattered windows. The silence here feels old, heavy, like the tower has been waiting centuries for this moment. You set Bandito down gently. She presses against your leg, growling low, her eyes fixed on the staircase. You reload the pistol with shaking hands, though you know bullets won't help. Your other hand grips the camera, your only real weapon now. The clicking rises. You aim the lens at the stairwell just as it emerges, massive, hunched, dragging itself through the narrow gap. Plates scrape against stone, antennae whip forward. Eyes gleam black in the moonlight. It fills the stairwell like a nightmare made solid. Snap. The flash blinds it for a heartbeat. It screeches, limbs flailing, mandibles clashing so hard sparks fly. You snap again, another burst of light freezing the horror mid-climb. It hesitates, then surges. You backpedal through the gears, shoving levers and chains aside, camera clutched tight. Each flash slows it, but only for seconds. The thing is learning, adjusting. Its eyes narrow, its movements shift, each pause shorter than the last. Your heel catches on a gear, sending you sprawling. The camera skids across the floor, spinning out of reach. Bandito barks wildly, darting forward to snap at the monster's claws. No, you shout, scrambling after her. The probe lashes out, slamming into the floor inches from your hand. Acid sizzles against stone, smoke curling upward. The heat scorches your skin, the smell burning your lungs. You grab the camera, snap the shutter just as the probe swings toward you. The light blinds it, making it reel back, mandibles clashing furiously. For the first time, you see cracks in its armor, black ooze seeping from the gaps. It's hurt, not enough. The gears of the clock loom above you, massive weights dangling on chains, iron teeth poised. idea sparks. You sling the camera around your neck, grab one of the chains, and yank hard. The gears groan, the tower shuddering as rusted machinery lurches to life. The monster hisses, antennae whipping wildly as the grinding echoes through the chamber. Its eyes fix on you, mandibles clicking faster, probe twitching in fury. Bandito barks again, louder, sharper, as if urging you on. The weights creak higher, gears locking in place. You wait, heart pounding, until the monster lunges forward. Then you release the chain. The weight slams down with a thunderous crash. The impact rocks the floor, dust, and stone raining from above. The monster screeches, trapped beneath twisted gears, its limbs thrashing wildly. Black ooze splatters across the floor, sizzling where it lands. For a moment, you think you've done it. Then the gears crack. The creature surges upward, shoving the broken machinery aside. Its body is mangled, armor fractured, but it still rises. Blue light pulses brighter now, flaring through every gap, as if fury itself fuels it. It isn't stopping. And you know, with absolute certainty, that the clock tower will not hold. The gears grind, metal screaming against metal, as the monster shrugs off what should have crushed it. The clock's hands outside twitch once, then freeze again at 11:40, as if time itself refuses to move forward while this thing exists. You backpedal across the wooden planks, Bandito pressed against your leg, her growl a thin line of defiance. The duffel of dynamite thuds heavily against your shoulder where you've slung it. Your fingers clutch the strap so tightly your knuckles ache. The creature shifts, rising to its full, awful height. Plates of armor hang cracked and broken, ooze dripping onto the boards below. Its mandibles clack, fast and furious, echoing through the chamber like a grotesque metronome. The probe slides outward again, glistening barbs twitching for flesh. You know bullets won't work. The camera can only blind it for seconds. The gears bought you time, but not victory. That leaves one thing, the dynamite. You kneel, fumbling the sticks from the duffel. Your hands shake so badly you can barely hold them. 8 tubes of paper and powder, enough to tear the tower down to rubble. Enough to take you with it. Bandito whines, pawing at your arm as though begging you not to. I know, girl, you whisper, your voice raw. I know. You strike a match, the flame bright and small against the vast dark. The hiss of the fuse catches, sparks racing. The creature surges forward. You grab the bundle, hurl it into the mass of its body. For one awful heartbeat, it disappears into the gaps between its plates, vanishing as though the monster is swallowing it whole. Then the world erupts. A blast tears through the chamber, so loud it's less a sound and more a force, ripping the air from your lungs. Fire blooms, devouring everything in a rush of orange and black. The floor splinters beneath you, boards flying upward like shards of glass. The monster screeches, the sound keening, piercing, as blue light bursts from its body. Its armor splits wide, cracks glowing like molten rivers. It flails wildly, smashing gears, shattering beams. its bulk thrashing with desperate, furious strength. The tower groans. Timbers snap, stone crumbles, dust fills your throat. You clutch Bandito to your chest and stagger toward the stairs. But the floor collapses before you reach it. You plunge downward, wood and iron and flame cascading around you. You hit hard, pain blooming through your ribs. The world spins, the air thick with smoke and ash. Somewhere above, the creature still moves, a silhouette thrashing against fire. Its clicking grows distorted, broken, slower, but not gone. The clock's great bell crashes down through the debris, slamming into the floor with a shudder that shakes the foundations. The sound reverberates like a death knell, deep and final. You crawl, dragging yourself through splinters and stone, Bandito clinging to your arm. The exit is gone, blocked by rubble. You cough, choking on dust, eyes stinging. The tower leans dangerously, every groan of its timbers promising collapse. Historians still debate whether the Colossus of Rhodes fell to an earthquake or sabotage. But the story goes that its pieces lay scattered for centuries. Travelers awed by the fragments of something once thought invincible. You think of that as you glimpse the monster, its massive body broken but still writhing, blue light pulsing like dying embers, while pieces of it lie buried here for centuries, waiting to be uncovered. Or will it crawl free again? A beam crashes down beside you, sparks exploding as it smashes through the generator that once powered the station below. Fire roars upward, feeding on oil and splintered wood. The heat scorches your face, singes your hair. You stagger to your feet, pistol still miraculously in your hand. You aim at the glowing cracks in its armor, squeeze the trigger. The last bullets fire. They slam into the fissures, and for the first time, the creature reacts. It howls, mandibles snapping in fury, black ooze spraying across the rubble. It lunges, but its body is too broken, too heavy. It crashes forward, smashing through beams, dragging the entire structure down with it. The tower screams as it falls, stone and wood tearing free, gears snapping loose. You run not up, not out, just through, forcing your way between collapsing walls, clutching Bandito like a lifeline. The air is a storm of fire and ash, every breath scorching your lungs. Behind you, the monster shrieks one final time, a sound so raw it rattles your bones. Then the rest of the tower collapses, burying it beneath a mountain of stone and flame. You stumble into the street just as the clock tower gives its last groan. The great face shatters, raining glass across the square. The spire crumples inward, the bells toll silenced forever under rubble. Silence follows, not the oppressive silence of the forest, not the hunting silence of the creature, but the silence of exhaustion, of something massive ending. The night air tastes of ash and blood and burnt oil. Bandito whimpers softly against your chest. You sink to your knees in the street, body trembling, chest heaving. The town lies still around you, the tavern's glow flickering weakly in the distance. You don't know if you've killed it. You don't know if it can be killed. All you know is the clock tower is gone. And if the thing still lives beneath the rubble, then time itself has run out for San Gabriel. The dust lingers long after the towers fall, drifting across the square like the ashes of a funeral pyre. You cough hard, chest aching, as you stagger to your feet. Bandito presses against your ribs, trembling but alive. Her small heartbeat feels impossibly fast, yet steady, a rhythm that grounds you when everything else has shattered. You glance back at the rubble. Smoke rises in thin plumes, broken beams jutting upward like gravestones. Somewhere beneath it all, the thing lies buried, silent, maybe dead, maybe only waiting. Your legs wobble as you move, steps uneven, shoulders screaming from the weight of exhaustion. The square is deserted now. The tavern lights dim, generator humming weakly. You make your way there, every shadow twitching at the corner of your eyes. Inside, the tavern is quieter than before. The laughter is gone. The bravado has dissolved. Those who remain sit huddled together, eyes wide, faces pale. They heard it, the blast, the collapse, the final shriek. They know something's changed. Joe looks up from behind the bar, his face drawn, his hands trembling as he pours what little liquor remains. "What happened out there?" he asks, though his voice is barely a whisper. You don't answer. You can't. The words don't exist for what you saw in that tower. Jeff's empty stool catches your eye. The bottle he left unfinished still sits there, froth clinging to the glass. You swallow hard, throat dry. No one asks where he is. Maybe they already know. Bandito hops down, sniffing the floor, tail tucked. She whines softly, pacing toward the door. You feel it too, that pull, that lingering presence. The silence pressing in again, because even here, even now, you know it isn't over. Historians still debate whether the disappearance of the Roanoke colony was starvation, assimilation, or something far stranger. The word Croatoan, carved into a tree, remains the only clue. But some accounts, buried in letters, whispered by sailors, speak of strange lights over the sea, and a silence that fell on the settlement before it vanished. You wonder now if San Gabriel will become its own mystery. A town left hollow, a story twisted into folklore. The tavern's lights flicker again, long enough for gasps to rise from the crowd. Bandito growls, low and certain. You lift your camera, finger on the shutter, though the battery is nearly dead. If it comes back, you'll blind it. If it doesn't, you'll still be ready. The silence grows heavier, pressing against the windows, crawling through the cracks in the door, and you whisper, more to yourself than anyone else. It's not gone. The night exhales slowly, as though it too is weary of holding its breath. The rubble of the clock tower lies heavy in the square, a monument to something the town will never explain, never speak of openly. You sit with Bandito at your side, her head resting on your knee, her breathing slow and steady. The silence stretches, not the hunting silence of before, Not the dreadful pause before claws strike, but a different kind. A quieter one, almost tender. Almost. The tavern door creaks on its hinges, a reminder that others are still inside, whispering, pretending the world hasn't changed. You know better. You felt the tower fall. You saw the cracks glow, the armor split, the light still pulsing even as fire swallowed it whole. Things like that don't end in rubble. They wait. And yet, you're still here. Against every odd, you survived. The night air cools as ash settles. The hum of the generator faltering into a rhythm that feels almost like a lullaby. You lean back, eyelids heavy, the weight of exhaustion pressing in. Bandito's warmth seeps into your bones, grounding you in something small, something human. I could tell you you're safe now, that nothing waits in the shadows, that silence is only silence again. But you know better. You've felt its eyes. You've heard the clicking that will never leave your ears. Safety is a fragile thing, easily broken. So close your eyes if you dare. Drift just for a while. The night will hold you, even if uneasily, and if you wake to silence deeper than before, well, perhaps that's just the story continuing without you. Sweet dreams. Sweet dreams. Oh, perhaps that's just the story continuing without you. Sweet dreams. Sweet dreams.